been reporting about harassment at the city all week now. One of the things that's really stood out for me is how voiceless the employees are. I've heard from more than 80 former and current City of Edmonton employees, and all of them are terrified about going on the record. They're worried even after they leave the city, this kind of retribution will follow them, and so they can't speak out. This really bothered me, and so I want to read from a few sections of these emails in ways that won't identify them, but just to let you hear their voice again, and I've asked them what they think should happen. I just want to say that I loved your article, but I have little confidence that things will change. I've put in so many complaints. For years, I felt there was absolutely no one we could turn to for help. People can only handle this type of outright abuse for so long. It got to the point where it crossed over into my personal life. My hair started falling out. I couldn't sleep. I developed a general anxiety disorder, suffered from panic attacks, and my relationship with my husband started to suffer. I would come home at night and cry, unable to sleep, while dreading the thought of going back into that environment the next morning. Good evening, Elise. I'm sharing an experience from a friend who did not want to disclose her identity due to fear of retribution. Below is her story verbatim from her email to me. I started getting systematically harassed by my supervisor. She used to bang on my desk, yelled at me for asking questions related to work to other city employees by saying that this is city protocol, and shouted at me for helping a customer 5 minutes after work hours. I was living in fear of being harassed every day. Ultimately, I quit the job to avoid harassment. I found that workplace harassment is highly detrimental to your career, as you lose both confidence and mental peace. I recently left the City of Edmonton for reasons similar to those outlined in your article today in the Edmonton Journal. I left also because of the way the city handles citizen complaints. I was in a front-facing position. We had citizens throw things at us and get rewarded with passes to recreational centers or discounts or free admission for their family. We were regularly belittled. We had many incidents where we reported behavior that was terrifying. Young men and young teenagers engaging in physical, violent behavior that went unheeded. The city, or at least where I worked, was an unfriendly and hostile place. I just read your article and it hit me very hard. I'm a city employee who was sexually assaulted. My attacker is still working with the city and from what I hear, still touching women inappropriately. I received not even an apology. I've spiraled into depression. I tried to defend myself on a few occasions, but she would gaslight and twist my words around. Sometimes I would have to try to make things clear. No, I did not say that. As I clearly stated in the email, I said I would do this, but it would be twisted into something bigger than it was. My coworkers all witnessed how she was treating me and were appalled. I've experienced both personal and sexual harassment in multiple work areas. I have reported or attempted to and been deterred from reporting incidents in the past and then faced a victim-blaming HR department, threats and/or career sabotage. Now I don't even bother reporting anything because I know that I, as the victim, will be the only one who faces any consequences. Instead, I am looking for a new employer. Union staff is under protection by the union. Yes, they can be bullied and harassed, but they will not be fired or easily. On the contrary, management and professional staff can be bullied, harassed, and for sure terminated. During the termination, they get two options: fired without severance or get severance and sign an agreement that prevents the terminated person from taking legal action at the city. You dare file a complaint, prepare yourself to search for another job in this market. I'm now with a great manager in another branch, but I still have panic attacks running into my previous supervisors. I'm glad someone has given these employees a voice. Thank you for shedding some light on an issue that has been going on for far too long. The people who emailed me, I also asked them what they thought should change. Here are some of those responses. I think that there's a genuine intent to create a system that employees feel comfortable with and ultimately addresses the issue. With that being said, I do not think that complaints going directly to the city's manager's office and ultimately investigated by a group of peers is going to fix the problem. In my experience, I was suffering so much to the point where I was led to believe that my manager was so well connected within the city that no matter who I told about what was going on and what I was feeling, it was going to come back to actually be a larger problem than it already was. I feared that I was going to be judged and punished. At the same time, the thought of a panel of peers investigating a complaint would have increased my anxiety and increased stress. The city manager's office is already too bogged down with stuff to be managing the full breadth of the corporation well. Quite frankly, even if the process were actually effective, there is so much reconciliation that needs to happen before anyone will try to use it. They need to rebuild the trust they have broken by leaving us with such an ineffective complaint process for so long. For senior management to think a change in process will ease all that trauma and make us trust them now is downright delusional. And this process was developed in isolation. They did nothing to involve staff. The people who created this culture can't fix it. Due to a lack of accountability from the senior managers, they have been tolerating and nourishing these behaviors. I hear the phrase, "I hate this place," almost daily. The root causes of this problem are three things: hiring unqualified friends at senior positions, inability to move laterally without direct supervisor approval, and a lack of transparent complaint process. There is no way an internal system to address issues will work as planned. The complaints process needs to be governed by an independent third party who can hold leadership and employees accountable. What city employees are asking for, and really what every employee deserves, is a fair and just approach to managing serious problems in the workplace.